Say, man, it's the five-star general live from the war zone, and I need you to rock with the candidate that the war zone is endorsing, my man David Newell, Judge, Criminal Court of Appeals, Place 9.
The definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
So when you go into the voting booth this November, make sure you know who you can count on. Those are the people who deserve your vote. The people that have been there time and time again and that have served your needs. So again, make sure you go in there and check the box for who you can count on.
Tell them 5-star sent you. Copeland, 127.
My bad.
The third is election day in Harris County. It's time to do something different. 127 Civil District Court. Say, man, walk in the voting booth and rock with the 5-star general as we vote for Now Copeland. 127 Civil District Court. Say, man, it's going down November 3rd, election day. Tell them the 5-star general sent you. You feel me? Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crockett Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq. I got the Queen, Demetra K. And I am the 5-star general. Say, man, they preparing for the worst in Louisville, Kentucky. The Breonna case finna do what it do. They boarding up the city. They done blocked off downtown. But them Negroes finna get loose. What would I tell you? Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone and tell you without a shadow of a doubt, it's always an honor to be here to hang out with you guys and do what we do because you're the best audience in the world. So you know how I normally start off. I want to say happy, whatever that may mean. Man, I had an eventful day. You know I rock with the kids, man. I drove through a tropical storm from Houston to Opelousas, Louisiana, to a school board meeting to stand with the parents, and you could best believe they tried to put a muzzle on 5-star, but I'm in the back making them trying to gavel me down because I didn't show up to be quiet. And when it's all said and done, your teacher's gonna go on strike, your parents ain't gonna send them kids to school, and it's gonna be what it need to be. Donovan, what's going on, my friend?
A lot of stuff is going on. You guys, welcome again to the War Zone. Great to have you. This is going to be a great discussion. A lot of stuff is going to be going down this week. As you guys know, Breonna Taylor case is coming up. They are preparing for the worst. And real quick political, you know, I'm always talking about the money in the Democratic Party of what they need to do if they really want to win. Today, Joe Biden's campaign has said that they are for freeing the weed if you vote for them. It dropped today. So some of you guys that were sitting on the precipice, this might be the thing to bring you back to the Democratic Party.
Say, Joe them gonna free the weed?
He said
they finna let you smoke the weed.
That's what he said. I mean,
man, I got to go back and do some more research on Joe because if he gonna free the weed, we might have to talk about some things.
Yes, but that also goes to show you how desperate they are that, you know, they have, obviously they've been listening to this show because we said if they really want to win, do what you need to do to win. Free in the weed.
We're gonna, you know, I'm from the hood, so if he say he gonna free the weed and then he don't free the weed, we're gonna bring the trap house to the White House. Ms. Demetra, what's going on, Mama?
So hello, everybody. I hope everything is going well for you on this Tuesday evening. Of course, we got started just a little bit late because the general was at a school board meeting there in Lafayette. And so I'm sure he'll talk to you guys maybe later on during the Hood CNN. So stay tuned for that. So as you guys know, there is a decision that's supposed to come down in the Breonna Taylor case in Louisville, Kentucky. They have, and Gary, I put up some images, if you will, share that. I just kind of want to show the people what there is to see really quick. So these are some images of, I guess, downtown Louisville, Jefferson Square Park. It is, I guess it's the downtown area. So as you can see, some of the things are boarded up. And this is actually from Sean King. He actually put these images up. So as you can see, it's boarded up. Let's see here. Oops, wrong way. I got to make sure I scroll to the left and not to the right. Y'all might see some things you don't want to see. So as you can see, they have fences around some of the buildings there to stop people from, I guess, getting a hold of the building. As you can see, it's all glass. I'm sure they don't want it destroyed. And I'll get into why in just a little bit. As you can see, their gas stations, their gas pumps are also closed up. What that's about, I'm not really for sure. Maybe they don't want people to gas up and tear up the town and get out of town. I don't know. Guess we'll find out a little bit more about that. And then let's see here. As you can see, they have a barricade there with the police cars and stuff stopping. I guess they don't want people to be able to travel around downtown, so they have barricades set up there. Now, let me get back into what I was saying. And so the reason why all of that is taking place is because Daniel Cameron, I think that's his name, the attorney general there, in Kentucky is supposed to render a decision as to whether the 6 officers that are involved in murdering Breonna Taylor on March 13th of this year, he's supposed to give a decision as to whether he's going to indict them or let them go and say there's no wrongdoing there. So a lot of people are speculating, thinking that he is going to say he's not going to bring charges against them because of what you guys just saw. They actually have declared a state of emergency to stop things from popping off if a decision is not rendered in the favor of those officers being found, I guess, having to answer for what they did. Now, one officer was fired, the one that actually shot into the apartments blindly. As you guys also know, her boyfriend was initially charged, taken into custody for shooting an officer. But as he said, I didn't know who it was. As you guys also know, they rendered a no-knock warrant, which means they didn't have to announce that they were going into the property. Now, they were originally going because they said they believed that there was drugs being sold out of that apartment. Well, that theory has been debunked. And so, as we also know, Breonna was basically murdered in cold blood in her sleep. And so the world is watching to see what decision is handed down by the attorney general. So depending on what he says, it could get very messy. So, Gary.
I put my mask on because that's what they're going to be looking like when you make the wrong decision. I want you to clearly understand something. There's repercussions for your actions. There's repercussions for your actions. Now, I know a lot of people out there going to have something different to say because it is what it is. Breonna Taylor didn't have to die. Breonna Taylor did not have to die. Let's get that straight. And if the best that you can do is to bring in a few National Guard, which they normally don't care nothing about that, bring in the National Guard, board up some buildings. Well, let me tell you what's going to happen. You're going to push them to the suburbs. And they're going to burn your ass down anyway. Now, do I feel some type of remorse? Well, I tell you how I really feel. We get accused all the time that you don't own nothing in your neighborhood. So why should I give a damn about something being burnt down? Black people don't own shit anyway, remember? So it's not that I have a problem. I'm not going to ever promote somebody with violence or looting or whatever. But what I am going to say is the chicken's finna come home to roost in Louisville. Then I'm going to tell you You know, you tell me if I'm wrong, Donovan. You don't have the manpower to handle it. You were in the military. I don't give a damn what kind of training you got. But if them youngsters stretch your ass out, you don't have enough to handle it. You're protecting certain buildings. But at the end of the day, that may not be the target. But for me to them, you know, is there a better way? In Louisville, I wouldn't know because I don't live in Louisville. I don't deal with anything in Louisville, Kentucky. Is the frustration level at all time high? Of course it is. Another sister, we dealt with this with Sandra Bland. You know, now we got to deal with it with Breonna Taylor. A sister brutally murdered. And now you think that you are going to control them. So I'll get into some other stuff as we talk. But you can, you know, goddamn, man. I mean, hold on. I got a barbecue pit because everything in the motherfucking city finna burn up. I'm letting you know right now. Everything in Louisville gonna get burned because you play the game. You play stupid games, you finna get a stupid prize. Donovan.
Well, here's my question to the audience and some of our friends out there that are listening. Like I said, we have the greatest audience on the internet. Once again, here we are dealing with a situation, Rodney King, OJ, whatever you want to call it. You've got some of us out here of the older persuasion, and I consider myself older persuasion, I'm up there as well, that we say, well, just be calm, be peaceful. We've been doing that playbook for 30, 40, 60 years now. And what has it gotten us? It's gotten us absolutely nothing. So I'm not going to sit here and advocate that you're going to not do something that you're going to do anyway. Why won't these people take us seriously? Because we're not taking ourselves seriously. We are the only group of people that will let people beat us in the heads, and we're going to talk about, thank you, sir, may I have another? The only thing a person with a club in their hand understands is another person with a club in their hand. We're not the ones being violent. They are, but they're always telling us to be peaceful and calm and maintain. Well, God dog, when are we supposed to get upset? When are we supposed to get upset? So when this thing comes down, I will be watching. I will not be praying. I will be watching and hope that Louisville, if this does not go the way we think it's going to go, is going to lead by example and show us moving forward how we are to handle the situation. Demetra?
You all right there, Gary? Gary?
He's reading.
Yeah, I was listening to some old 2 Live crew. The roof is on fire.
I was like, okay. I was like, who is everything all right over there?
No, I'm good. I'm good. What can I say? I mean, you want us to continue to be, especially the activists, keep them calm. And you know, you watch all this go on. You make every excuse in the world as why these cops can keep getting away with this. And now you're going to have to deal with it. So, you know, we have a national platform here. We talk to people all over the country every night. And I don't have anything to tell them in Louisville. Now, you know, normally I'm gonna tell you, calm down and, you know, build you a business. And when it comes to Breonna, this is what I gotta say. You ain't gonna use me. You gotta learn how to do the right thing. So if they burn your city down, in the immortal words of one of the greatest rappers to ever do what they do, you know, in the movie House Party 3, Left Eye Lopez, sorry for you.
Yeah, so most definitely. And I want to say shout out to Marty Mark. He says he's watching from Cell Block D. Woo woo. I hope you're all right in there. I don't know how you tuning in, but hey, welcome to the war zone. So anyway, yeah, I guess it really just remains to be seen. You know, clearly there's going to be some movement. And to me, it's like, what a shame. What a shame, for one, that it's taken all this long since March 13th to come up with a decision. Like, it then paid the family $12 million. Okay, so obviously there's some wrongdoing there. The boyfriend was cleared. You know, clearly he thought somebody was breaking in. They tried to write the narrative, you know, that the boyfriend, you know, was having a shootout with them. But he was like, hey, I thought somebody was breaking in. Also, the report was very loosely written. It doesn't seem like it was even a whole lot of stuff written on the initial report. They were just going to draw it up as a drug bust, I guess, gone wrong. A cop was fired already. I mean, it was just so many things, you know, vindicating Breonna, like she's murdered in cold blood. And here we are in almost October, where the AG has the world on pins and needles. And, you know, it's like, to me, it seems like it's open and shut. But we also know that he is a very Republican guy there. He's, you know, Mitch McConnell's, I'll leave it at that. And so he is not going to disappoint his masters. He's probably very lucky to have that position. And a lot of times, and he's a brother, in case y'all ain't know, a lot of times when brothers get in that position, they're not going to disappoint the very people that appointed them. And so he's going to do everything in his power. This is just my opinion. Because at first, he really had to be pressured into even making a decision this far. He was just like, there's nothing really to see here. You know, like, I don't really want to charge him. So now here he is, I guess, caught between a rock and a hard place. But there's no doubt in my mind he's definitely going to allow them to walk. Why else would they be boarding up, you know, Louisville that way?
Well, I'll say this on behalf of every decent district attorney in the United States of America, every decent mayor in the United States of America. Your inability to do what you knew you should be doing, when this comes out, I'm saying it beforehand, will affect other cities. Other cities will be burnt. Other cities will deal with mass looting. Other cities will deal with murders. Other cities will deal with black and white going at each other behind the bullshit that went on in Louisville. So I'm going to say it on behalf of all the people that hold jobs that can't say what I'm saying. You a bullshit dude for not doing what you needed to do. And now you're going to affect other cities that ain't got shit to do with Louisville, Kentucky. And it's not fucking fair. It's not fair to us activists that have to work in these other cities, that bust our behinds, because now we got to talk a whole new game. But what does he care? If they would have killed one of those cops, they'd have had the charges on them, they'd be on their way to the penitentiary. But it took all this time for you to do exactly what we knew you were gonna do, which is let them walk. Bruh, this ain't gonna go the way you think. I think Louisville finna be South Central Los Angeles 1992.
Absolutely. But notice that what it is before, we always let stuff go. Oh, well, next time, justice, you know, we have everybody talk us down, our parents, our grandparents. Oh, y'all don't be in the streets. Just be peaceful. You know, when I was in the civil rights movement, you know, we went to jail, we protested, you know, to try that. These kids ain't hearing that. And with all these distractions, you guys notice, like, in the last couple of weeks, all these major distractions to make you try to forget Breonna Taylor's case. You know, it's always something, the NBA, football. Now it's the weed. All of a sudden, Joe Biden's talking about the weed when he wasn't talking about that before. You know, just all these distractions, because they know Black people as a whole, we are very easily distracted.
So why is Joe and Kamala not talking about the possibility of these cops getting off? Because they the same type of motherfucking politicians that'll let them get off anyway.
Exactly. And you guys gotta understand this. We have reached a point in the United States where for the very first time, they have perfected the art of putting two of the exact same candidates in both parties as nominees. So no matter who you vote for, it's the same person. Biden wants to give the police force more money. So does Trump. Bigot. What's the difference?
But less money to education.
Yes, absolutely. So we are starting to wake up and we're starting to say, this isn't too good here. This isn't people. We have to start looking and saving ourselves. Nobody's coming for us. Representative from my district, 41st district in California, he was on the House floor a couple of weeks ago talking about discrimination against Asian Americans, with Black people, men and women being shot down in the street. My representative is talking about Asian discrimination. That is the group that has the most money in this country, and he's talking about discrimination. This is the type of people we're dealing with. This is the Democratic Party that we're dealing with. They talked to Nancy Pelosi the other day, Sunday, about what is she going to do about the Supreme Court pick. You know what she said? It's our job to defend the Constitution, which you're not doing. And she went totally around the question because the Democrats aren't going to fight for that seat. They're not. We got to start waking up, you guys.
I think Pelosi could be on that moonshine.
Yes. The game has been set. They are showing you who they are. There's no difference in these parties. You have to start voting your own interest. The game is set. How are you going to play it?
The game is set. You play it a certain way. I think we need to give serious consideration, like you say, on who we're voting for. Because this will not change with the people that own the ticket. It's just not going to change. And for those that sit around and you like to be trolls and you like to say all the funny shit finna get real right now, man. It's finna get real in Louisville. I can promise you that. And when it get real in Louisville, you ain't gonna do nothing but go hide in a corner. But you know what? I tell you what, they show you by what they did in Louisville what communities they give a damn about. You only give a damn about some brick and mortar, right? Downtown, protecting certain buildings. Well, why didn't you put some barriers around the Black community to make sure nothing go down over there? You don't give a damn. Man, these people don't care nothing about us. And that's all it boils down to, Demetri.
Yes, I just want to take some comments from the comment section, if you will. So Ed Maureen, how you doing? You say AG is also married to Mitch McConnell's daughter or granddaughter. No, he's not. He's not married to anybody in Mitch McConnell's family. However, Daniel Cameron is a protege of Mitch McConnell. He served on his counsel from 2015 to 2017. So that's not true. He's not married to Mitch McConnell's granddaughter. That would have been very that would have been. I don't even have words for what that would have been, but that's not true. Also,
Mitch McConnell wouldn't have been in the racist club. That's for damn sure if that was true.
Well, Mitch McConnell's married to an Asian, so I don't really know what that's about either. Maybe he likes to go across.
Most white supremacists are married to people of other persuasion other than Black, especially Asians. They are married to them.
Right. Okay. So, and then also, Shane, how you doing? You say, from a legal standpoint, no-knock warrants were lawful, right? Yes, they were. They actually outlawed it. They have it. It's called the Breonna Taylor law, something like that, to where they have outlawed the no-knock warrants. Then you also go on to say, if they were operating on a lawful warrant, what charge do you think they should be charged? Well, I don't know how lawful the warrant was because it was baseless. There were no facts to this warrant that they obtained. They thought that, I guess, they were looking for somebody else from what they were saying. Turns out that the person they were looking for was already in prison. And so they didn't even have their ducks in a row with that warrant. So I think the warrant was baseless. And I think they should be charged with murder one. Not only did they shoot into her apartment, murdering her, they shot into 2 other apartments. What if they would have murdered somebody else, just going in there, you know, like Rambo shooting, you know, without regard to life? So, I mean, if you would have walked in anybody else's apartment complex and started shooting aimlessly, you would be looking at a murder one case. So I don't think they should be any different.
And it was proven that they went warrant searching. You know, late at night, you can go to any judge and they're going to sign any warrant. And it was proven that they had done that just to get the warrant going. So they went to a judge late at night and said, hey, sign this. We got this, probable cause, whatever. Come on, it's 2 a.m. What do you think the judge is going to do? He's going to sign it. So.
Well, I put Earl Joseph's comment up. The black pastors are not going to say anything because of the 501c free taxes, free status shut them up. Yeah, they 501 shut them up. Not only are the black pastors not going to say nothing, the Congressional Black Caucus has not said anything. Local black leadership, whether they're in the caucus or not, has not said anything. And you know, tonight I just want to give y'all some nuggets and tell y'all how the real community feels that has to deal with this. So, you know, Demetri, I know a lot of great philosophers that I've studied, and one of the best I've ever studied was Ice Cube. And on behalf of all the people in the hood and all you quiet ass pastors and you Congressional Black Caucus members, fuck all y'all.
Yeah, so it's going to be super, super interesting. Like I said, the facts are already out there. But with $12 million, the biggest thing given, okay, now this is what I never really understood. I know a little bit about law. Demetri and I both took law in college, and a general's taking law right now. How is Ben Crump, who isn't practiced and licensed to practice law in Louisville, I'm sure he's getting a kickback or something. Somehow he's getting some money, and the $12 million is done. He hasn't made a statement since. So, Demetri, I'm just going to ask you in general, what do you think the outcome of this is going to be?
I mean, anything could happen, but I really believe that they are going to rule in favor of the police officers. I mean, I think you just, you know, as I say, follow the breadcrumbs, if you will. The DA is a GA is a big time Republican. Mitch McConnell is the biggest douchebag Republican on the planet. And I'm sure Daniel Cameron has had to do a lot of things that he ain't willing to talk about publicly in order to get the position that he's in. I'm sure he's had to sell a whole lot of people up the river, you know, to even be in the good graces of a douchebag. And I know that's not a really nice word, but it's a nice word tonight when we're talking about Mitch McConnell. He has to stay in the good graces of Mitch McConnell. And so, you know, we know that Republicans are really pro-police. They love the police, and they try everything in their power to make sure that they get the better end of the stick, if you will. And so I don't know. Something just tells me that the AG is going to rule in their favor. As you guys also remembered, you know, Daniel Cameron, he got married and engaged, had engagement parties and his wedding, you know, while everybody's waiting for him to come down with a decision. In the case of Breonna Taylor, he's like, you know, I just get to it when I get to it. And so, you know, he's not in a big hurry to make things right. He wants to always tap dance for his masses. And so that's what I think is going to happen.
You already knew what that knuckle was going to do. You already knew. See, we can sit up here and we can be dignified. We can sit up here and we can be very professional. But tonight I want to be hood. I just want to be hood. The AG full of shit. The whole system full of shit. The whole system is all across the country is systemic racism. And we have to sit here and continuously take this shit. I'm letting you know now that you can't call the war zone. Man, can y'all speak on it and try to calm people? We're not doing our goddamn thing. Handle your business. The chicken's finna come home to roost. You gonna have to go get Ali out his grave to calm them Negroes down in Louisville. Because they ain't gonna just let it go down like that, man. They ain't gonna just let it go down like that. And anybody out there, whether you black or white, you know that this is not right. It's just not right. But you finna awaken a sleeping giant. You gonna fuck around and have a war on American soil. Donovan.
Well, not only are they shooting and killing us in the streets, literally, they are doing it financially. We are less than 12 years away from being a slave. So if you think we've got problems now, for those of you guys that are watching this show, and you're saying, well, I'm going to, keep my kids in the house, which you should if they're minors. But you moms out there, stop telling your young men that are of age to stand down and sit down and, go somewhere or whatever, that have these men stand up for the community, because with less than 12 years to a slave financially, if you think we have a problem now, you wait until the foreclosure starts happening and all our wealth, whatever wealth we have left, is gone. Then what are you going to do? We need to make a stand. We need to make a stand now. And I'm not talking about just going out there and just senselessly beating people for no apparent reason. I'm talking about standing up as men, going out there and telling them no more. This is not going to happen no more. Somebody in the comments says we got to vote and change the laws. It doesn't matter how many people we send up there, because we've got 86 Black congressional members up there right now. 86 of them. That means those 86 people control the Democratic agenda. Nothing passes the House without the vote of those 86 people. So they control the agenda. Are they talking about reparations? Are they talking about police reform? Has Nancy Pelosi put any of these items on the floor for a vote? Absolutely not. You want to know why? She doesn't want to expose her racist Democratic friends like herself. We have to take it to the streets, pending what this decision is going to be.
I think they're not ready, bro. But I'm telling you, you might get a little bit in Louisville, but something else gonna pop off. Another city gonna pop off. I'm just telling you, any chance that folk can get to pop off, they gonna pop off. Because people are just flat out tired. And I'm gonna tell you one thing, and you get mad at me if you want. You can't hide them suburbs. They done figured out ain't nothing in the hood. You finna have some company. Guess who coming to dinner? And they coming to barbecue your ass.
So I agree with you, too. I agree with you absolutely that the AG, maybe he knows and just doesn't care, but not only will it pop off in Louisville, it's going to pop off all over, definitely the United States, and, maybe even the world. And I think maybe, to the tune of that of George Floyd, because this is one of those cases. Now, obviously, all of the people that have been murdered by police officers is a big deal. But I think this is one of those cases that is kind of really up there as far as the media is concerned, because it is always also often said that women who are murdered by police officers, especially Black women, rarely get any limelight. You often see it being about Black men. And so you guys have probably seen the hashtag Say Her Name. And that's in reference to a lot of Black women who were murdered. And so even that of Oprah Winfrey, she took to Louisville and put up a whole bunch of billboards, basically asking for justice in her case. And, you can, the Naomi Osaka, the one, Osaka, I think her name is, the one that won the tennis match or whatever. All 7 times that she played, she had names of the murdered by police officers on her face mask. and one of them was Breonna Taylor. And so you've seen a lot of attention being brought to Breonna Taylor. And so I think that the repercussions of them handing out down a not guilty or not guilty, but they won't indict them type of verdict is going to spread all over. And I don't think they really, maybe they do realize, like I said, maybe they just don't care as long as they don't tear up, like you said, Gary, where they live. And yesterday, Al had sent me a video of Steven Jackson. You know, he's a very outspoken guy. You know, I want to meet him one day because he does not bite his tongue. But I guess he was supposed to be on an initiative with LeBron James, some voting initiative type of deal. And they kicked him off, is what he was saying. Steven Jackson was saying they kicked him off of it because he wasn't really agreeing with the direction that they wanted to go into. And so he got into the conversation about these lawyers. He didn't specifically say their names, but I think we could kind of ascertain that he was talking about Benjamin Crump. He says that he knows for a fact, because he's been in a lot of those discussions and a lot of those rooms, that these lawyers glom onto the cases. And you guys know that Steven Jackson was like best friends with George Floyd. And so I'm sure he's really aware of the inner workings. But he says these lawyers get into these cases and then they put all of their other people on. So whether it's some other lawyers that, or their friends or this pastor. And so he basically said it's a money grab. They're not really interested in getting justice. They're just interested in building a name for themselves and, you know, being able to spread a little love into their network and putting everybody else on. And so this is from the words of Steven Jackson saying he knows that for a fact because he's been in the room. So
yeah, of course it's a money grab. Yeah, of course it's a money grab. You're dealing with taxpayer dollars. That's almost unlimited. That's almost unlimited. You're going to pay your taxes, and just think about all the money, the tax-paying money that could be going to roads, schools, and education that we pay out because of these bad officers, bad shootings, bad just unnecessary, you know, money being spent out. But there's never any money for school lunch programs. There's never any money for after-school programs. There's never any money for anything else that has to do with bettering the community. Oh, we got a bad cop. We got to spend $12 million to pay this person out, and we still got 3 of the 4 bad cops on the force. And we sit there like a bunch of dummies and be like, okay, all right, I'm going home now. Gotta go. Next election. Come on, you guys. I mean, I mean, we are beyond the wall now. We are beyond the wall. It's either we take a stand now, or your grandkids will be taking a stand later. Which one do you want? Because they're going to be looking at you saying, grandmama, granddaddy, why am I out here, you know, taking a bullet when you guys should have done that 30 years ago or wherever, you know, the standing needs to be taken. We are beyond the wall, you guys.
Steve Jackson is a good guy. Never been in this company. I always knew people that knew Steve. And Steve has always spoken from his heart. Even when he was in the NBA, you know, playing the game, I mean, he do what he do. But here's my thing. It don't take Steve Jackson to say what he said for me to clearly understand it. I done been around it too many times. And people like Crump come through the door. They make their money. And then they leave. We don't get justice. We don't get reform. We don't get anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's that easy for them. And here's my thing, man. If somebody gets upset, or even if Crump gets upset about what I'm saying, who gives a fuck? The truth is the truth. You've done it too many times. You want people to tell you the next Johnny Cochran. You ain't. You couldn't fill his fucking shoes if you had 2 sets of feet. You trash. Because all you care about is the money. Louisville is finna face something. And Crump is not going to be anywhere to be found. That's why you should have never did the Cupid shuffle with the police as soon as George got killed. That's why you shouldn't have been kneeling with the police as soon as George got killed. You supposed to sit firm. You had your foot on their necks and you let it go. But for the city of Louisville, because this was not done right, and we know it wasn't done right, the chickens have to come home to roost. And with that being said, you made your fucking bed. Now you're going to have to lie in it.
I was just looking through the comments and I see Jerome. And how you doing, by the way, Jerome? Jerome says, I'm 17-year-old black teen and I'm afraid for my life. And that's, it's like, what do you say, to a 17-year-old? And, no disrespect, Jerome, but to me, you're a kid, what do you say to a 17-year-old kid, who's afraid for his life simply because he's black? And you know what? Rightfully so, he should be afraid for his life. He doesn't know if he's gonna, be riding his bike, walking from the store with some Skittles or iced tea, or maybe playing with a toy gun, or and obviously I'm evoking a lot of examples that actually have gotten young people killed. He could be doing anything. Elijah McClain, I think was he 21 or something like that. He was walking home, minding his business, and he was, choked to death after he pled with the police officers. I'm sorry, whatever I could do, I'll make it, better. I'll be good, and all these other things. And so, Jerome, I would say to you, you're not alone. There's a lot of people who are afraid, young and old, afraid of the police, afraid of just being black, right? And so I would say to the rest of us, it's really up to us to make sure that, Jerome and others aren't afraid for their lives. And we have to, as Dr. Muhammad said, and it really struck a chord with me, because he says, without an economy, we have no power in politics. Our votes are pointless. Anything that we do, marching, protesting, all that stuff is pointless without, the money to back it. And so until we stop giving our money to this oppressive system, think about this. We pay this system to murder us, or to have our young black boys in fear of their lives by giving 97% of our $1.3 trillion to everybody else but ourselves. And another thing is, we won't unify. This election season is a good example. We're fighting over which master to serve. But the thing about it is, neither master is going to do anything for us. All they're going to do is continue to use us. And yet our young people are running around afraid for their lives. And neither Joe Biden or Trump has really said or gave a solution as to how they're going to stop not only the murders, but the fears that our people experience every day.
I just want to say that,
Go ahead.
real quick. Trump and Biden have agreed to a debate. There's going to be at least one. We know that. One of the topics of the debate is race and, protest or something like that that's going on in America. I want you guys, especially you guys that are just pro-Democrat and you just, blue no matter who. I want you guys, make sure you watch this debate. If you missed the debate, do a re-click on YouTube. They're going to talk about race. I want you to time how long they actually are going to talk about race during that debate. I bet you that thing will not get even 5 minutes. It's going to be very important, because the climate of what is going to happen at this case. And I mean, how could you not talk about race with what is going on in this country in the last 6 months? 6 months. Forget the pandemic. We're talking about people being murdered in the streets. How is that not a viable debating topic for you, the voter, to see for yourself that these candidates are no different?
I'm gonna say this. I'm keeping it real tonight. And some nights I can see Demetri cringing, and because I'll say some things, and I just want to have a conversation with some niggas right now. Let me break it down to you. Nigga, your life don't matter. Nigga, let me tell you what the problem is. It doesn't matter what your child do. They can be good, they can be bad, they can be the honor roll, they can be the worst of the barrel. Nigga, they're gonna try to kill your kid by any means necessary. So it's not fair that nigga kids have to be subjected to staying in the house. They can't go here, they can't go there. But that's the life that we want for these niggas. Now, the niggas that don't listen, we got somewhere to put you. One of two places. We either gonna put you in jail or we gonna put your niggerish ass in the graveyard. See, I want you to understand, behind closed doors, these are the conversations that they're having. Do you really think I need to listen to Trump and Biden talk about race? Fuck no. But I'm like you, I want to hear what they got to say. Because based on what you have already said, it ain't too much you can say that night to change my mind about your ass. You got to understand, in their eyes, you are a nigga. I'm just letting you know. So all them people out there, and well, you're trying to divide us, and you making this about race. I'm making it about what it is about. And at the end of the day, the way that you treat us shows us everything we need to know. You never have to call me a nigga for me to know that's how you feel about me. They want these youngsters dead. They want them dead. So what can I tell a 17-year-old? Because I got to talk to them. Let's see how you're doing in school, young man. Are you going to college? If you have your whole plan laid out, but if you're not going to college at 17 years old, let's formulate a plan so you can open a small business. See, what we ain't gonna do, we ain't gonna worry about them people. We're gonna get your money right. And once we got your money right, fuck them. Once you got your money right, they ain't gonna fuck with you anyway. You notice they ain't killing no suburban Negroes. They killing poor people. They killing poor people. So the best thing to do is get your money right. Get your money right so that you can put yourself in a position where you don't have to deal with these people anymore. And if any one of y'all out there got a problem with what I said about niggas, that's because you disconnected from the black reality. You really drinking the Kool-Aid with your folk. And when it's all said and done, remember, they even reminded OJ in the end, you ain't nothing but a nigga.
And so I see Demetra has a hat. Would you like to share the symbolism?
So that's actually from Jay-Z. His song Still Nigga. Remember, he came out with the album 444. And for whatever reason, my daughter thought this would be a good hat for me. I just haven't had, I guess, the nerve really to wear it out in public, even as I jog, because a lot of times when I wear my different T-shirts and stuff, I have different people stop me and ask me, and this would be a hard conversation to actually have with people. So I choose not to, but it just reminded me, as Gary was saying, that, you know, basically no matter how much money you make, what kind of car you drive, house you live in, you are still that. Now, we don't think you're that, but that's what society, that's what the oppressors think you are. And, you know, God forbid, or not God forbid, if, you know, Daniel Cameron is watching, they think that you are, okay? And you know they think that about you, which is why you do their bidding. They give you a few butter biscuits and you sell out your whole community for a pat on the back from massa. You will allow Breonna Taylor's murder to go without justice so that you can continue being invited to that of Mitch McConnell's, you know, Thanksgiving soirees and all of that other stuff. But I'll tell you this, and I always talk about this case with Stephen Fetchit. Look him up. He sold out his people. He was, you know, they called him the laziest Negro in the world, the laziest person in the world. That was his moniker. And he walked around, yeah, he couldn't read. This was his character. And white people paid him loads of money to the point that he was the first black actor that became a millionaire. That's how much money they paid him in the 30s and onward. Well, they got tired of him. And he had tried to come back home. And black people was like, we good. You went around the world telling people you were the laziest person in the world, making it so that everybody else thought that all black people were that way. So we good. And he ended up dying broke and an alcoholic and without a home, or he was a man without an island because people got tired of him. So that's what's going to happen with Daniel Cameron when, not if, but when he sells out his people for an extra butter biscuit.
Yeah, actually, you can go on YouTube and you can see a clip of Stephen Fetcher's last movie. He was in a black exploitation movie, and you can see a clip of it, and it's him, and that was his last appearance in cinema. But since we're talking about cinema and exactly what we're talking about, how many of you guys remember A Soldier's Story, which was actually a soldier's play? If you haven't seen that movie, go see that movie, because it talks about those type of Negroes that, they think that because they're at this level that everybody has, they're the ones to decide who's a Negro and who's not a Negro. That's an excellent movie to go see if you haven't seen it. Denzel Washington starred in it. A lot of the big stars starred in it. And actually in the play, Samuel Jackson was in the play. So all of the big wigs that you know today were in that play, but it's a very, very good story. But speaking of where we're at today as Black people, we always are talking about the Nancy Pelosi's. We're talking about the Donald Trumps. We're talking about Mitch McConnell, right? None of these people look like us. Why are we holding them accountable? And the very people that we vote into office, we're not holding accountable. Shouldn't that be the question we should be asking ourselves? Hey, I voted you in. You're from Houston. You should be hollering and screaming. Right now with this Breonna Taylor announcement and in a holding pattern, how many of you guys have heard members of the Congressional Black Caucus come out and make statements to help sway that these people give this family justice and Black people justice? I haven't heard one. But we're going to hold Nancy Pelosi accountable.
We ain't gonna kill nothing. We ain't gonna let nothing die. We do a whole bunch of motherfucking talking, but we ain't gonna do shit. Let's get that straight. I get it with some of y'all, man. You ain't got that gangster in you, man. You don't want that smoke. You talk that shit on Facebook, man, but you ain't about that smoke, man. If we allow this shit to go on with Breonna, we don't need to stand up for another black murder. This was blatant murder. And if we ain't raising no hell for Breonna, we don't need to raise no hell for shit. And that's all it boils down to. Let's move on to the next agenda item. Because this ain't working, man. And I'm being honest with you. We spend so much of our time talking about we need to come together when we need to realize that we actually don't. You can't work with people that don't have the heart to do the shit that we have to do to get this right. In order to get this right, some of us gotta go to jail. In order to get this right, some of us gonna lose our life. In order to get this right, some of us are going to lose our livelihoods. You niggas ain't gonna do that. I'm at the barbershop right now with Demetri and Donovan. You motherfuckers ain't gonna do that. You ain't ready to do that. You gonna hide off in your suburbs with your motherfucking Section 8. Oh, you thought I didn't know how you got up in there, huh? You gonna hide off in your suburbs with your Section 8, with your fly-ass mouth on your computer, and you ain't gonna do shit. If they don't stand up for Breonna, I ain't standing up for nothing else. And that's what it boiled down to, bro. Because it's a waste of fucking time. And I don't have time to waste. I got money to make.
So Eric, I see you say, okay, Demetri, Stephen isn't on Facebook. He may be on the YouTube site. Yeah, I believe he's on YouTube. He has a podcast with Matt Barnes called All the Smoke. So, if anybody knows him, tell him we're trying to reach him. I really admire his mind and him being so unapologetic, among many other people. But yeah, I agree with you, Gary. At some point in time, we're just going to have to just decide to ride and keep on going. Not ride for a little bit, you know, and say, okay, I think that was cool. Now let's go back home and wait for the next person to be, you know, murdered. We got to keep riding till the wheels fall off. And I think that's the one thing, like you alluded to, Gary, when you said, you know, we'd be out there doing that electric slide and the Cupid shuffle with the pole. And it's like, come on, really? Like, are we still falling for that? We as Black people, we just have this innate need to be accepted by the oppressor. Well, he wants to get out there and dance with us. Come on, y'all, let's go out there and dance. You know, it's like we as Black people almost have this thing where we got to ease them of their guilt. We got to make it acceptable for them, you know, to make them feel better about the things that they've done to us. And I think we need to get past that. Like, I say this a lot to people, excuse my French, but fuck your feelings. We need to have that attitude with the police. Fuck your feelings.
Let me tell you this here. You remember Boys in the Hood at the end when they shot Ricky? And remember Cube them left and Cuba Gooding Jr. got in the car. And they were riding around looking for the motherfuckers that shot Ricky. And then remember Cuba told him, pull over, let me out. Remember he told him, pull over, let me out. And Cube didn't argue with him. He just pulled over, dropped the 6-4 down, and he let him out. These the type of niggas we dealing with nowadays. They don't want to get in the car. If the car means that they got to march down the middle of the street, pull the car over, man, let me out. If the car means they got to strap up the black and put the gun on them and walk down the street, man, pull over the car, let me out, man. If the car means we got to swing on somebody, pull over the car, man. These ain't say, bro, all that coming together, you can't come together with no cowards right now. You need soldiers, bro. Pull over, let me out. How many of them y'all know?
Exactly. You know, we always talk about people that are doing the work. I call them shadow warriors. You know, some people, they're out there like the 5-star. He ain't out there to, you know, set himself up to run for the presidency, which I think he should. He's doing the work. You know, we need people to do the work. But with this pandemic, people have lost their jobs. The economy is in the toilet. I look on Facebook and some of these things because you got nothing else to do, right? And I see us, Black folks, dancing and, you know, twerking and just doing the most, you know, and God bless you if that's what you want to do. I can't tell you what and what not to do, but at this moment in time, what the hell are you happy about? We're being murdered in the street. Our so-called leadership is selling us down the road. I mean, they're basically the CBC and Black leadership, even on the local level. It, to me, whenever I think of them, it's almost like I went back to Africa, Demetra. We're in South Africa, and it's like having that African slave guy give you to the white trader that wants to entrap you. You get the Black guy to go capture the Africans, and the African gives it to him. It's almost like that. And I'm just thinking, with everything that's going on in this country, how can you walk around twerking and smirking and dancing and shuffling when you got your own people are being literally strung up in the street for all to see? I just don't understand it. And then you got the few of us out here that are doing the work.
So do you think that back in the slave days when they hung a Negro, it wasn't a few of them on the other side dancing with the massa? Ain't shit changed. We just got to know who we dealing with. Yes, ma'am.
And I say absolutely, Gary, they were, but a lot of them, like, we can give them a pass, right? And I'm not saying that, I'm saying that lightly. We could give the slaves a pass because they was like, hey, I need to shuck and buck for survival. You know, hell, they was even in the plantation, they was doing a lot of the whipping. I get them, massa, you ain't doing it hard enough. But to your point, we still got people doing that. It's like, what you doing that for? Ain't nobody making you, you know, whip your own people or, you know, be shucking and jiving and stuff. And Neely Fuller Jr. says that Black people are always celebrating. Says, what are we celebrating for? Says we don't have anything to celebrate. We are like in dead last place in everything in the world, and we're always dancing and kikiing and ha-haing and, instead of getting down to business. What the hell, to Donovan's point, what the hell is so funny? What do you like? The last thing I want to do is dance in the middle of the street with my somebody who's murdered my people. It's a sickness is what it is. It's got to be.
I say this here, that it's a sickness that I see too much of. I mean, they buck dancing on the job now. You kissing ass to keep the job when you know them people don't want you. Your teachers, you buck dancing in the school. You knowing goddamn well ain't educating them kids, but you're scared to speak up. You buck dancing on the police force. You the Black officer, you see what they doing, bro. Whether they a Black cop or a white cop, they dirty, but you won't say shit. They buck dancing all over the place, especially in politics. They fucking us raw, and nobody won't open their mouth and say nothing. Bottom line is, I'm just be honest with y'all, Demetri. I kick it with you and Donald, but I ain't really fucking with some of y'all niggas out there, man. I ain't got time to fuck around with y'all, man. Y'all ain't right, man. That's why I don't answer my phone when y'all call me, because I already know you buck dancing. Donovan?
Yeah, I mean, we have really got to start staying focused because the game has been set. A lot of us are going to be losing our homes. I know you guys are saying he's always talking about the money. When you don't have money, you don't have much say so in this country. You can't do much in this country. We will become a problem. So a lot of people say we should patrol our own communities. We should do all these things. How can you do that when you don't have the financial influence to influence the decisions of the city council? You don't have it. We've got to get back to what we invented, group economics. The Asians learned that from us. Civilization started with us. Why are all these other people coming here being successful? We can do it too. We invented it. We need to get back to it because guess what? We're almost in checkmate. I've got my board. We are almost in checkmate. And once we're in checkmate, a lot of you guys do not have arms in your homes. You have no way to defend yourself. Some of us do, but we're talking about as a whole. You have no way to defend yourself. Checkmate. Checkmate. Game over. We got to get serious, y'all.
I see Black Militia Nation. What's happening with you? It says, I just want you guys to know I listened to about 7 of your shows in a row. One of my generals sent me your link today. Best information I heard. You know what? That is awesome to hear. And welcome. Thank you for tuning in. And we also learned a lot from you guys too, and get a lot of information from you guys. But that means the world to us. So thank you so much for that.
That's because we over our time. Final thoughts, Donald.
Final thoughts. All I can say is, you guys keep your ear to the street for the Breonna Taylor verdict or whatever they're going to do. If they do not give this family justice, and it's not just the family, it's the Black community. If they do not give us justice, there's going to be a serious problem. And I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to tell you to pray. I'm just going to tell you, be ready.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I mean, I just piggyback off of what Donovan said. Yeah, I mean, as Malcolm X said, stop singing and start swinging. It's the singing and dancing and buck dancing and all that. All that time is that. There's no more time for that. You need to get ready for not what might come, but what will come.
There we go. The only thing I'm gonna tell you is Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. So I'm gonna leave y'all. These are my final thoughts right here. Louisville, Kentucky. I'm gonna leave you with this. They about to burn your shit down. And get what? We ain't finna try to help you. I want to thank y'all for tuning in tonight. My good friend Donovan Sadiq. Louisville, y'all ready? You call the laws. You call the fire truck. But they gonna burn your shit down. On behalf of my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the Queen Demetra K, and I am the 5-star general. I'm in a safe place and I got a whole bunch of water in the water hole. Louisville, y'all need some help. Until tomorrow night, we're gonna holler at y'all. We're gonna leave you with the tramps. They're gonna burn y'all shit down. We'll holler at y'all tomorrow, man.